Good morning and happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded. For anybody that might be new here, what we typically do is go over crypto news in the space or news in general. I update myself, bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's here in the chat, and then we'll go from there. Mr. Andrew Masad in the house. Good to see you. Green Hash, good morning, sir. We have Nismo Miner, Vinny, Tim I Am Crypto, Black Hat Team, good morning. Crypto for Seniors, I Need My COD. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you, Mr. Max Voltage. Perfect. Thanks for being here, man. We have Cape Cod Crypto, mining to fill my bags. That is literally my favorite name that shows up in the stream. Appreciate it, buddy. Magic Lucky, Dakota Miner, John Germain, Nick K, everybody else. You guys are all fantastic. Let's get into this. Bitcoin, 68,271 bucks. Looking really good. We have Ethereum at 35.21. Let's see, Solana's at 151 bucks. XRP's at 48 cents. Get ADA at 43 cents. LTC's at 80 bucks. Caspa over 17 cents. Hell yeah. We're duking into that for sure. We have ETC pulling back still, 25 bucks. Getting close to 26, but yeah, we need that to start doing something. Oh, you know what? By the way, last night I was checking out my Tangent wallet. If you guys don't know what Tangent is, it's one of my favorite wallets. Not trying to shill it, but ETC wasn't showing up in my Tangent wallet. I was like, why do I have a zero balance? And then I went to the Explorer and I saw all my stuff was still there, and I'm like, what's going on? So I updated the app and it came back, but it freaked me out for a bit because I have a decent amount of ETC. So yeah, if you guys have that issue, just update the app and you should be okay. All right, anyways, let's move on. Let's see, we have STX over here up 6.32% to $2.34. We have Injective up to $30.59, over 8% up on the day. Nice. Render is up 1.2% to $8.81. Not too bad. Meme coins look like they're falling off a cliff. Dogecoin's 14.5 cents or just under that. What's this? Toncoin? Toncoin's doing pretty well today, $7.58. Let's jump over to Crypto Bubbles and see what we got going over there. What is this? What is LPT? That looks to be the winner of the day. What is this? Live Peer? What is that? Up 8 ranks to 100. It just broke into the top 100. 24.32. That's how much the coin is. Up 10.9% on the day. Never heard of it. Does anybody know what this is? Let me know in the chat if you do. Interesting, but they have a $796 million market cap. Not too bad. Let's see. You're missing your ETC because you have an iPhone. Shut up, Max. Oh, I hate you so much. Injective, we have again, it's $30.57 up to 37th on the ranking, and yeah, $2.86 billion market cap. Max just threw me off. 8.1% up on the day. Toncoin is up 6.8% on the day, again $7.60. Pepe's down 4.8%. Whiff is down 4.8%. Floki, oh Jesus, what in the hell just happened? Everything just went crazy on me. Floki's down 12.7% now. It looks like everything else just lost a bunch. All right, Bonk is down 11.1. Brett, oh damn, in the deep red today, down 15.2%. 15 cents. Crazy. Yeah, everything else is kind of just chugging along. Jasmine's down 4.7%. I sold this around 4 cents. I'm kind of hoping it has a better pullback and then I'll jump back in. Interesting. BitTensor down 7% today, 330 bucks. Not too bad. Nothing else really pops out at me, guys. Everything's just kind of everything's just that's it. Rowan upgrade is live for Lithium. Interesting. I don't even know what that is. Never heard of it. I'll look into it though. We have Flashbang coming up. Fear and Greed Index 70 over here on the Fear and Greed. You guys know under 75 or below 75, I don't really care about it. Things just kind of chug along sideways. Over 75, that's when I start really paying attention to, like, should we sell certain coins now or not. So take it as you will. This is a overall, you know, consensus of what's going on in the space, the news channels, everything on Google. So it just takes everything, throws it into one number, and that's what it comes up with. All right, trending coins. We have Mimu the Bull down 12% today. MAGA Hat up 1.1%, and Welsh Corgi coin up 7.1%. I have no idea. These meme coins are killing me. Baby, look, Baby is up 47%. This is the largest gainers. What is this? Baby. It's called Baby. It's a meme coin on Solana, I assume. Oh my god, it's crazy. These coins kills me. Anyways, all right, top 10 coins by coin market cap over on CoinGecko. I'm exhausted today, by the way. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, Lido Staked Ether. We have USDC, XRP, Dogecoin, and Toncoin in 10th place, still at an $18.5 billion market cap. Damn.
Bruh.
Cardano is falling behind, like far. It is $3 billion, over $3 billion behind. That's crazy. We have Shiba behind Cardano, $3 billion. Damn, what's going on here? Maybe 2.5 billion or so. Interesting, in 12th place. Let's see, Litecoin's in 21st still. Near Protocol is just above that. Are you guys investing in Near? Do you guys think Near is a good one to jump into? It's $6.30 per coin right now. I don't know. I need to look into this a bit more. This is the max chart. So it was around in 2021 during that bull run. Interesting. Went up to almost 20 bucks. Weird. What's his all-time high? Let's just look. According to CoinGecko, $20.44, $20.44, 69% down, almost 70% down on the all-time high. Interesting. I wonder if we're gonna have like a big jump kind of like that during this next run. I don't know. I think it might be a decent bet. What do you guys think? I mean, this past year it's been climbing consistently, so I don't know. Sleep on ADA if you want to. Yeah, Alien Black, I think ADA is gonna do fine, to be honest. I mean, looking at again the overall chart, I've showed this so many times, like 2017, 18, right? It's jumped. That's the bull run there. The 2021 bull run, it jumped again. I think its all-time high was like 309. Yeah, 309, 86% down. Like they're doing so much in the background, they just don't care about advertising. I think ADA is going to do just fine. I mean, dude, it's held in the top 10 coins for like ever until Toncoin just came out of nowhere. But in general, it's still technically in the top 10 if you get rid of USDC and USDT, right? So whatever. I mean, I think that coin's going to do just fine, but we'll see what happens, obviously. But Near Protocol is one of the ones I kind of want to start looking into. Litecoin, I do hold a bunch of. Litecoin's going to do well. That's about 80% down from its all-time high as well. Caspa has been killing it lately, 17 cents as of right now. Render, I think, is another one that's going to do pretty decent this run. We're going to have to see what happens there, though. Yeah, and that's it. We have a lot of stuff I want to watch, so I'm going to stop talking there on all these coins. Actually, let's look at Lithium quick, see how that's doing, because Chris Hanley did something about it. I think it was Chris. I apologize if it wasn't. $1.86 as of right now, down 2.1%. That's pretty. It could be worse, I guess. Went down to $1.50, so whatever. $1.86, not too bad. All right, moving on to the mining segment of things. You guys know I like to timestamp this stuff, see where we were. Come back a year later, see how crazy the profits has dropped. The Dusty Hunt. What's up, man? Yankee, Wind Moon. Soon, hopefully. Let's see. All right. Bitmain, Antminer, KS5 Pro, 21 terahash unit. We got 92.49 a day on this thing. We have the KS5 20 terahash unit making $88 a day. We have the KS5M 15 terahash unit making $63.30. The KS5L 12 terahash unit making $49. We get the Dragon Ball miner, the KS6, or the IB Link BMKS Max, both 11 terahashes, making $41.86 a day. Windminer K9 10.3 terahash unit making $41.15. Let's see, the AL box over here in 9th place, 360 gigahashes, still making $36.29 a day. That's actually really good. I'm shocked it's still holding. It's been holding what, like a couple months now, month and a half or so, I would say, maybe a month. 30 bucks ish, right? Because it was higher than that. So it's looking pretty good though. I don't know what's gonna happen if their new miner comes out, the 8 terahash one, which is like blows this thing out of the water. It's crazy. We have the KS3 8 terahash unit, Caspa miner, $30 a day, $30.43. We have the KS3M making 6 terahash unit making $20.43. Let's see, you guys know the Antminer L7. They have the L9 coming out shortly. Actually, I heard something about the L9 triple mining. Bells, Dogecoin, and Litecoin. Is that true? Does anybody know? I think the Mining King told me that. It's pretty interesting. Kind of weird though. I would rather just mine Doge and Litecoin, but that's just me. But I got this thing down at Terra Hosting. Shout out to them if you guys are looking for hosting around 10 cents per kilowatt hour, depending on how many machines you have. It's a good option because I pay 30 cents, and yeah, it's definitely worth it for me. So I make $10.57 a day on this 3-year-old plus machine after my electric rate. So it's pretty, or my electric bill rather. So it's pretty awesome. Let's see, the KS2, I think, did they stop making these? I think they did. 2 terahash unit making $6.65 a day, and the Ice River KS1 down here making $3.32 a day. I think they stopped making both those, if I'm not mistaken. You told me a month ago. Shh, Crypto KJ, I never listened to you. Have you not learned that by now? I just ignore you until it's too late, and then I lose. That's pretty much how that goes. No, but I don't know what you told me. What did you tell me? The triple mining thing? My bad. I really didn't. I didn't see that. Damn it. Let's see. All right, the Gold Shell KA box, 1.18 terahash unit, making $4.66 a day. I would like to get one of these things for the solar trailer, just because it's 400 watts. But is it worth it? Probably not, because you can get what, 2? It'd be about, yeah, actually 100 watts for the Ultra. Where's the Ultra? Right here. The brand new Ice River KS0 Ultra, the 400 gigahash unit for 100 watts. So 3 of these would be more than that Gold Shell box. Man, I feel like Gold Shell just like, I don't know. They're like that shiny new toy that you want to buy, but it's always a bad idea. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like that's the problem there. I don't know why. Nothing against Gold Shell. I mean, I get it. You got to make money and stuff, but like, man, why are they always such a bad deal? Like, look at that. Just comparing the two. Gold Shell KA box. It's 1.18, 400 watts. 3 of these, 300 watts at 1.2. So I don't know. Crazy. Anyways, these make $1.65 a day. I wish it was 100. That'd be nice. Let's see. Where's the X16? X16Q 1950 mega hashes over here, making $3 a day, mining ETC and ZIL. Let's see. Anything else? The KS0 Pro making 71 cents a day. Nice. That's awesome. I should be making over $1 a day per machine in the solar trailer, because I have no electricity in there, obviously. Interesting. And I can't wait. Tomorrow my solar panel is supposed to show up. It's 1,000-pound pallet. I am so excited to get these, and then I have like another like 400-pound pallet coming the following week. It's kind of crazy. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens there. All right, let's see. Bitmain S19K Pro 120 terahash unit. I am making a whole 13 cents a day. I will pay myself back in 330 months. Bruh. It's better than never. It's better than ever. I'm just hoping that these things become more profitable, because this was not the best decision. It was not. But you know what? Again, long-term game. Bitcoin mining is a long-term play, my opinion. All right, GPUs, let's get over here. If you guys have any questions, please just add me in the chat. All right, Graham seems to be the top of the charts here. What in the hell is this? Nice hash, fish hash, and Graham. God. Insane. Anyways, Ironfish and Graham all the way across the board, pretty much everywhere. Xano, Zealous. I'm still mining Zealous on my GPUs, just right to trade Ogre to sell it to Litecoin, because that's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Let's see, Eternity, I think that's what it is, on the A5000, but everything else seems to be pretty much there. Let's see, member for 13 months, Mr. Crypto KJ, dude, thank you so much. 27 years ROI on the S19K. Yeah, that's a big oof, bro. That's a big oof. I know. All right, I know. Listen, it could be worse. I could be in King's position, I guess, because he got the, what did he get, the 96 terahash units? What are those looking like? I don't even know. I'm gonna have to type it in. I want to look for it. It's just S19, right? J Pro, is that what it is? I think that's what King got. Oh my god. Again, don't click on this, please. I'm not even using Google Chrome. Apparently this is a virus. Don't click on this. Somebody is exploiting this site, just so you guys know. Let me try this again. No. All right, you know what, I'm just not gonna do this. Let's see, Bitcoin. Let's just go to this. I think these are the ones King got. Damn, he's losing $1.39 a day. Payback never. Oh my god, these units are horrible, dude. I'm like literally just squeaking by in the green, or in the yellow, I guess. It's not even green. That's terrible. All right, anyways, let's go to CPUs. Sorry, Zephyr back on the top of the charts. How's Zephyr doing? Actually down 5.93%, and it's still on the top. Oh, actually, I guess we had a run up last. No, definitely not a run up. This thing's been falling off a cliff lately. A literal, it's just been a downhill slope. Look at that. That's a bumpy ride. That's a bumpy ride, boys. All the way to the bottom. Weird. I don't know. I wonder how Zephyr's going to do long term. Not a fan. It's not for me, but each his own. You guys do what you want. Miners capitulate. Yes, maybe. Crypto King. Let's see. I had an interesting dinner. Nice. Sarkov. Oh, is it late over there? Sorry, it's probably dinner time for you. Yes. Well, good evening, sir. All right, new coins. Let's see what we got over here on miningpoolstats.stream. Regis still top of the charts. Kapow over here. 7 days old. I guess Yusuf was talking about this one yesterday. Cobra Dag. That's how you say that. Pyrene hash. Algo. I guess it was profitable. He was crushing blocks on it apparently, but I don't know how profitable it is. I'm not gonna switch to it, but each his own. Do what you want. Just a meme coin on Pyrene. Or with the Pyrene hash algo, as far as I know. Anyways, let's go to the events calendar. We got 33 hours from now. Gold Cash is going through its halving 0.25 to 0.125. Then we have CAU going through its hydro fork or hard fork, whatever. And then this, I still get, again, 15 days from now, I still don't get it. What is this Pepe coin? PEP. It's not even the real Pepe coin, but it's going from a 500,000 to 250,000 block reward in no time. And if you guys are interested in Tangem, use code CCXD for 10% off. This is my favorite wallet, and you can hold Caspa with it. Actually, if you scroll down, where is it? You go to the home page. You go to the home page, you can scroll down and check to see which coins this holds. Just so you know, it's pretty awesome. So you guys can search through that. Not trying to plug, but I guess shameless plug. All right, let's see. Alltrack said traded my S19K Pro for KS0P. What? KS0P. The KS0 Pro? Is that what you're saying? Hashtag Pampet. Did you really? No, you did not. Alltrack. Alltrack, I will send you one right now. Cut it out. Don't do that. Don't do that. Damn it. All right, let's move on to news over here. Fed Chair Jay Powell. Economic outlook uncertainty or uncertain, will remain highly attentive due to inflation risks. Let's see what he's got to say. I haven't watched this yet, honestly, anything from yesterday, so we're gonna catch up on all this stuff. Hopefully you guys haven't watched it either, but hit that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out. Let's get into it.
Good afternoon. My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. Our economy has made considerable progress toward both goals over the past 2 years. The labor market has come into better balance with continued strong job gains and a low unemployment rate. Inflation has eased substantially from a peak of 7% to 2.7%, but is still too high. We are strongly committed to returning inflation to our 2% goal in support of a strong economy that benefits everyone. Today, the FOMC decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged and to continue to reduce our securities holdings. We are maintaining our restrictive stance of monetary policy in order to keep demand in line with supply and reduce inflationary pressures. I'll have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments. Recent indicators suggest that economic activity has continued to expand at a solid pace. Although GDP growth moderated from 3.4% in the fourth quarter of last year to 1.3% in the first quarter, private domestic final purchases, which excludes inventory investment, government spending, and net exports, and usually sends a clearer signal on underlying demand, grew at 2.8% in the first quarter, nearly as strong as the second half of 2023.
I sped it up a bit. I think it sounds better. If you guys need me to turn it down, just let me know.
Growth of consumer spending has slowed from last year's robust pace, but remains solid. And investment in equipment and intangibles has picked up from its anemic pace last year. Improving supply conditions have supported resilient demand and the strong performance of the U.S. economy over the past year. In our summary of economic projections, committee participants generally expect GDP growth to slow from last year's pace, with a median projection of 2.1% this year and 2.0% over the next 2 years. In the labor market, supply and demand conditions have come into better balance. Payroll job gains averaged 218,000 jobs per month in April and May, a pace that is still strong, but a bit below that seen in the first quarter. The unemployment rate ticked up, but remains low at 4%. Strong job creation over the past couple of years has been accompanied by an increase in the supply of workers, reflecting increases in participation among individuals aged 25 to 54 years and a continued strong pace of immigration. Nominal wage growth has eased over the past year, and the jobs to workers gap has narrowed. Overall, a broad set of indicators suggest that conditions in the labor market have returned to about where they stood on the eve of the pandemic, relatively tight but not overheated. FOMC participants expect labor market strength to continue. The median unemployment rate projection in the SEP is 4.0% at the end of this year and 4.2% at the end of next year. Inflation has eased notably over the past 2 years, but remains above our longer-run goal of 2%. Total PCE prices rose 2.7% over the 12 months ending in April. Excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.8%. The Consumer Price Index, which came out this morning and tends to run higher than the PCE price index, rose 3.3% over the 12 months ending in May, and the core CPI rose 3.4%. The inflation data received earlier this year were higher than expected, though more recent monthly readings have eased somewhat. Longer-term inflation expectations appear to remain well anchored, as reflected in a broad range of surveys of households and businesses and forecasters, as well as measures from financial markets. The median projection in the SEP for total PCE inflation is 2.6% this year, 2.3% next year, and 2.0% in 2026. My colleagues and I are acutely aware that high inflation imposes significant hardship as it erodes purchasing power, especially for those least able to meet the higher costs of essentials like food, housing, and transportation. Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. In support of these goals, the committee decided at today's meeting to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 5.25% to 5.5% and to continue reducing our securities holdings. As labor market tightness has eased and inflation has declined over the past year, the risks to achieving our employment and inflation goals have moved toward better balance. The economic outlook is uncertain, however, and we remain highly attentive to inflation risks. We've stated that we do not expect it will be appropriate to reduce the target range for the federal funds rate until we have gained greater confidence that inflation is moving sustainably toward 2%. So far this year, the data have not given us that greater confidence. The most recent inflation readings have been more favorable than earlier in the year, however, and there has been modest further progress toward our inflation objective. We'll need to see more good data to bolster our confidence that inflation is moving sustainably toward 2%. We know that reducing policy restraint too soon, or too much, could result in a reversal of the progress that we've seen on inflation. At the same time, reducing policy restraint too late or too little could unduly weaken economic activity and employment. In considering any adjustments to the target range for the federal funds rate, the committee will carefully assess incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. In our SEP, FOMC participants wrote down their individual assessments of an appropriate path for the federal funds rate, based on what each participant judges to be the most likely scenario going forward. If the economy evolves as expected, the median participant projects that the appropriate level of the federal funds rate will be 5.1% at the end of this year, 4.1% at the end of 2025, and 3.1% at the end of 2026. But these projections are not a committee plan or any kind of a decision. As the economy evolves, assessments of the appropriate policy path will adjust in order to best promote our maximum employment and price stability goals. If the economy remains solid and inflation persists, we're prepared to maintain the current target range for the federal funds rate as long as appropriate. If the labor market were to weaken unexpectedly, or if inflation were to fall more quickly than anticipated, we're prepared to respond. Policy is well positioned to deal with the risks and uncertainties that we face in pursuing both sides of our dual mandate. We'll continue to make our decisions meeting by meeting based on the totality of the data and its implications for the outlook and the balance of risks.
Thank you for the membership, Crypto KJ. Appreciate it, and congrats to Mr. Nick K.
Perfect.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
The Fed has been assigned two goals for monetary policy: maximum employment and stable prices. We remain committed to bringing inflation back down to our 2% goal and to keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Restoring price stability is essential to achieving maximum employment and stable prices over the long run. Our success in delivering on these goals matters to all Americans. We understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals.
All right, shout out to them for that, I guess. All right, CNBC Crypto World, let's move on. Bitcoin prices moves higher after new data shows inflation slowed in May. I hate this new setup that they got over here. It's awful. Guys, that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out It's, oh God, can't stand it. All right, let's do it.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the top stories. Former President Donald Trump says he wants all remaining Bitcoin to be made in the United States. The Republican presidential candidate.
What? Did you hear that? Anybody else hear that? You can want all you want, but last time I checked, these ASICs were made in China. There's zero chance of that happening. It makes no sense.
Candidate made the comment yesterday night in a post.
Max, I will agree with you on this. He is an idiot. Just that was stupid. That doesn't make any sense.
Writing that Bitcoin mining may be our last line of defense against a central bank digital currency, and mining Bitcoin in the U.S. will help the country be energy dominant. Trump met with Bitcoin mining executives yesterday, including those from the publicly traded companies Riot and CleanSpark. Zach Bradford, CleanSpark CEO, shared a photo with Trump on X yesterday, writing that Bitcoin mining is helping to build the infrastructure of the future and that the company is working hard to make sure that miners have support from leaders. The meetings come as crypto is becoming more of a campaign issue. Last month, the Trump campaign announced it will start accepting crypto donations. The Biden campaign did not yet respond to CNBC's question related to its views on accepting crypto donations. Now, Trump is not the first presidential candidate to accept crypto donations. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is mounting a long-shot independent bid, announced last May that his campaign would accept Bitcoin contributions. According to a recent Harris poll in partnership with Grayscale Investments, American voters increasingly want to support a political candidate who is knowledgeable about crypto.
Yeah.
All right, turning to Robinhood's recent announcement on acquiring the global crypto exchange Bitstamp for our main story. I spoke with Johan Kerbrat, Robinhood Crypto's general manager, about the deal and the Wells notice the trading platform received from the SEC. Robinhood is moving deeper into crypto. Last week, the company announced an agreement to acquire Bitstamp for about $200 million in cash. Your CEO, Vlad Tenev, was on CNBC's Squawk Box minutes after the announcement, noting that the move would accelerate Robinhood's plans for international expansion and that the acquisition would allow the company to enter a new business serving market makers and other institutional customers. What are some of the reasons this acquisition was important for you as general manager of Robinhood Crypto?
Yeah, I mean, I think Vlad hits the right points. I think, as you know, we expanded Robinhood Crypto internationally to the EU last year in December. And now Robinhood Crypto is available in eligible countries there. And, really with Bitstamp portfolio of licenses, we're also able to expand even faster into the market. And we'll now be able to bring customers from the UK, from Asia, and also from the EU and the US to the platform. So it was a big step forward in the international expansion. And
dude, get out of here. Somebody made a chump change coin. That is not real. That's real. 44.9% up on the day. What? That's a riot. This is Solana. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be Solana? How long has this been around? Since May? What the fuck? What is happening? That's stupid funny. I have no affiliation with this, by the way. I think it's a monkey on the logo. I'm not sure, but that's hysterical.
I think the institutional point was really important as well.
Didn't even know it was a thing.
Bitstamp has been trusted by institution for like their trade reliability, their order book, and their API connectivity. They offer services like crypto as a service, which is kind of a white label solution. They also have lending and staking for institution. And so really it means that for Robinhood, we're going to start a new business line with an already established business, with already a good relationship with partners. And, it's not us starting from zero. So a very big acceleration there. And finally, I think the exchange is, a big step forward for us as well. Having a robust product offering will help us enhance our product offering in the EU and outside of the US.
All right, just because I feel like I have to do it. I'm swapping for $1 million chump tokens right now. And shout out to Mr. Crypto KJ. Thank you for the DJ Scream. Hopefully he is doing well over there. Hold on, let's see. I just swapped for some in my wallet. Where is it? There it is. Solana to chump. That's hysterical. I just had to. All right, I got $1 million. It was 0.6 Solana.
Now, you just
See
touched
what
on
happens.
this, but why specifically Bitstamp? We all know there are a lot of crypto exchanges out there. What made Robinhood Crypto want to join
It's definitely going to zero, so please don't waste your money on it.
forces with that specific crypto exchange? I'm sure the global reach that comes with the deal was a key part of the equation, given Bitstamp holds more than 50 licenses and registrations around the world.
Yeah, I think there is a few things that we were looking at from the beginning when we were starting to explore these options. One thing that we really wanted was to find a company that shares the same type of core values that we have, and one of our core value at Robinhood has been safety first. And for Bitstamp to have that many licenses and be still here after so many years. You really need to have a safety first approach. You need to also engage quite a lot with the regulator and show that you have a compliant program to be able to still be here after so many years. So, for us, that was an important part. And the second part that we are looking at was really this international aspect of things. In the US, we are a very established crypto business. We wanted to make sure that we could expand and accelerate with this acquisition.
So, how would the deal work exactly? Would the acquired exchange continue to operate under its current brand, or would it become the Robinhood Crypto Exchange? And what products will you be offering now? I know that until recently, Robinhood has not allowed customers to earn yield on their crypto holdings through staking, for example. That is until last month when Robinhood's European crypto branch launched Solana staking. So, will that offering expand given the news of this deal with Bitstamp?
Yeah, I think, first of all, it's really early to say a lot of these things. The deal was announced last week, but we still need to actually close it. And so for that, we know it's going to take a pretty long period. We expect the close to happen in H1 of 2025. So we have plenty of time to figure out all the branding question. But at this point, we expect, no change in the near term. Bitstamp will still execute the way they are, and they will still serve the customer with the same great service that they've been doing in the past decade. And on our side, on the Robinhood side, there is also no really big change happening at the moment. In the future, we do expect that Bitstamp technology will help us enhance our product offering in the EU. I think they've done a lot of great work that we can actually use to really help build our offering. We are still a very small startup in the EU where we don't have a ton of features yet. And so, having their technology will help us.
Does anybody really care? I think we're going to end this right there because I think we have a lot more that I want to watch. And I found something that's hysterical regarding Mr. Trump. So if you guys want a quick laugh, let's do it. Max, this is for you.
Yo, open up, man.
If this gets tagged, I'm going to remove it, by the way. If anybody's watching Island this morning when I started playing that, it was great. So shout out to this guy, whoever this is. I don't use Twitter ever, but that was hysterical. I had to play it for you guys. All right, moving on. Max, I did that for you right now. I was going to end the show with that, but that was for you. I had to do it. All right, and I apologize for being stupid loud. Now my eardrums are gone. All right, let's move on to videos of the day. I want to see what Mr. Crypto Zombie's got to say over here. Let's start with this. that was worth this entire stream. Alien Black, it was so fun. I was literally crying this morning too. It was great. All right, let's do it. I have the link in the description, by the way.
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another
so
episode
funny.
of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Now, what is this craziness, this mad
Max, did I just cry? Laughing for no reason? You better be kidding, bastard.
madness of two back-to-back videos? Well, in yesterday's
you
video,
suck.
hopefully you guys did actually watch the video and not just read the title, because I was explaining how absurd it would be for BlackRock to actually be shorting Bitcoin at these levels. And yes, of course, while there is that possibility of maintaining within the range, we do have something that we have to talk about. This is something that does not happen very often for Bitcoin, but when it does, it usually has massive, massive ripple effects across the market. Now, just a quick note of what is going on with Bitcoin right now. We did have Bitcoin get all the way down as low as around 66,000 roughly dollars, but you can see right here, we are having this bounce, but the issue is that we're not only running into this, sideways resistance, but also we had this holding us as support. So we actually have two resistances coming up on us right now. So it's actually a pretty make or break moment, at least within the short term for Bitcoin. Now, also on top of that, you may have seen the fact that apparently the Bitcoin miners have been cashing in on this rally as exchange transfers have hit a 2-month high. So among these sellers, Marathon Digital, very, very large Bitcoin mining operation, offloading around 1,400 Bitcoin, worth nearly 100 million since the start of this month. So you're probably saying to yourself, well, this is not good if the miners are selling, right? They're going to be suppressing the price. They're going to be holding us down. Well, what's actually hilarious is what we have to go into today has exactly everything to do with what happens when the miners are in this exact scenario. And we do have a signal, a very, very rare, but very good. And, honestly, it's been pretty accurate for the most part signal that has been flashing. And we got to go over that today. So guys, if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, well, you're probably missing out because I think, well, I have a hunch it's about to get pretty interesting very soon. You may start.
I have a link to him down in the description below. I'm going to skip over this section because I can see he's going to talk about something, like a little shill thing there. But if you guys are interested in Crypto Zombie, go check him out. He is a fantastic channel.
Let me start here because I can already hear the comments. Lots of people, they like to type the comments before they even watch the video, and they start, saying, oh, this and that. I'm like, you gotta watch the video, guys. There's so much more to go over. So something that we could say had an effect, let's be honest, was the fact that we did have the CPI data, Consumer Price Index, showing that inflation grew by 3.3% year over year. So this is down, right, from the 3.4% rate that was in April. So, well, why is this a good thing? Well, economists and analysts have been closely monitoring the shelter component of CPI as housing costs have proven to be a stubborn source of inflationary pressure. Many expert housing and rent inflation, they expect rent and inflation to ease in the coming months, which would help bring overall inflation closer to the Fed's 2% target, which probably in turn would mean rate cuts. And yeah, you can argue historically rate cuts usually happen at really bad times or whatever. But guys, for the most part, as we've been saying on this channel, the money printer will go burr. And when the money printer will go burr, which it will, Bitcoin will rise, right? That's exactly what happens because Bitcoin is that hedge against inflation. Also, not to mention the fact that you're seeing more and more countries drop the dollar as the BRICS nations, start to basically do their own thing. And that is maybe not great for the dollar, but it definitely in turn is honestly providing a lot more confidence for Bitcoin. Let's just be honest. I mean, it is what it is. A lot more people every day come out, these naysayers, people who are skeptic. Every single day you see someone. I mean, Michael Saylor himself in 2013 thought Bitcoin was a scam, right? Donald Trump said Bitcoin was nothing but, hot air or something like that. And now even they're looking to be a little bit more, well, Michael Saylor is not a little bit more extremely bullish on Bitcoin. But so let me dive in and let's talk about what's going on. So if you guys are following me over on Twitter, yesterday, I basically just did a look at this smirk face, okay? And I think everyone in the comments knew what I was hinting at. 67.2 million USDC transferred from unknown wallet to Coinbase institutional. Now, usually when you see these massive inflows of stablecoins, it usually means that they're getting that dry powder ready. They are looking to buy the dip, right? And that's kind of what we were hinting at. Now, yes, there still is that possibility we stay range bound. No one's saying we're gonna have a blue sky breakout today. But when you see these charts, you're going to understand why. As soon as we do, it's going to be incredible. So let me just make this video a little bit short for you guys. Obviously, I don't want to drag this on. I want to talk about what is happening in the chart. So yes, we do have some short-term resistance. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, okay? But what we are doing is we had this parallel channel. Yes, we've had a little bit of a, sort of a bear trap. You could say this was a major, I suppose, bull trap, really, but, ultimately it wasn't because we're basically back at those levels if you were patient enough. But this is an ascending channel. And if we zoom in right here, you can see that we're currently hitting the top of that channel, right? So obviously we are not out of the woods just yet. But as I was saying, once you start to break above these EMA ribbons, these legacy EMA ribbons, you hold above them for a very long time. You tend to sort of dance around them in the beginning, then they start to act as support, and eventually you just parabolically lift off of it, right? And then again, once you start to get back into it, okay, that's when we need to start worrying. Well,
the best way to think about these ribbons is they act as a magnet. right? So if the candles start getting super far away from the ribbon itself, you want to understand that it's going to meet up at some point, right? So you're gonna have a pullback. If you're way above it, you know, if you're way below it, it's gonna rip up at some point soon.
We are somewhere, I believe, in this area right here. If you zoom in over where we are right now, you can see that we've had one touch, we've had two touches, and another thing to point is if you look at this weekly, we had a perfect retest on this downwards trend as the money flow is potentially starting to increase. Now, it has decreased slightly, and we did talk about how sometimes in summer you see things go a little bit sideways. There's a little bit less exuberance when it comes to price action. But if I actually zoom in here a little bit closer, let me actually, well, my line is still here, but look, if I switch this to the daily, you can see this as clear as day, guys. Look at this, right? So what did we have here? We had resistance. We come down here. We had resistance. But what happened? Once we broke above, it acted as support, right? Yeah, we wicked below it, but we closed above it. And look at this, guys, a perfect retest. I mean, you could have literally just blindly put in a trade basically at those levels, and you would have got that perfectly, which, by the way, guys, if you are looking to trade, make sure that you check. We have right here, we have minor capitulation. You see this red right here? Now, you may be saying, well, what does this mean? This means that they're selling. This is bad. It's in the red. Okay, well, let's take this back. Let's go historically. Let's see what happens. Well, first what happens is you get these capitulations, right? And eventually, they lead into these buy signals. So this is not...
This is just me, or does that buy signal not seem that very good? This one is all right, I guess. Maybe this one. This one was ass.
Not saying that right now, immediately, you know, as I'm making this video, you know, ultimately that Bitcoin is going to go to the moon. But let's just have a look at some of the last times that we actually got these buy signals, right? So this last signal was right around here. Was this a good buy? Well, I mean, from that buy signal, let's be realistic, Bitcoin fell about 20%, okay? But from that signal after we fell, the next high went up about 240%. So we'll kind of take this first signal with a grain of salt. Let's keep having a look right here. Let's see what's going on. So here's the next buy signal, right? Right here. Okay, we had a little bit of sideways. Obviously, these aren't perfect. It's not going to be like as soon as you buy, price is going to go up instantly. But what happened? Okay, price dipped about 5%, but then before reaching the next peak, price pumped 45%. I don't really think I have to do the percentages on this. You can see right here. Here's the buy signal right here. That was clearly a pump. Here's the buy signal right here. A little bit sideways into a pump. Are you guys seeing what I'm saying here? Are you seeing how these signals play out pretty accurately right here? Another buy signals. Okay, you got a few, maybe a week of sideways. Boom. Actually, well, that was a great buy signal. That buy signal was basically setting you up ultimately for a 235% run, okay? And we had this buy signal here, which, yes, it went up, came back down, but still ultimately went higher. And then if we go over here, you guys could see this wasn't exactly the greatest of the buy signals, let's be honest. This one was a bit of an outlier. So I'd say as of right now, we have about 2 of them, you know, out of all of these that were iffy, but still led to runs. Okay, we have this one right here. This was mid-rally. Still had a dump, but ultimately, you know, if you still take that from bottom to top of this move, that was still a 53%. Same thing here. Okay, a little bit of a dump afterwards, but ultimately brought us up to the peak where we are right now. And
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure how this I don't know. This one's all right, but like, I don't know. That indicator's kind of
No, we have not had the buy signal yet, but you can see that we are in the phase like we have back here where we start to build that minor capitulation. Miners start to sell, they start to capitulate, and ultimately you get that bottom. You get that ultimate capitulation where then the price does nothing but absolutely skyrocket afterwards. So,
all right, I'm going to jump forward a little bit to here because I want to listen to Mr. Anthony Pomp's video in a second.
Either to the top or to the bottom, you tend to break through, right? If you're like, if I was to flip this chart, if I inverted this chart right now and we were looking at Bitcoin going down instead of going up, you would think we were going to keep going down, right? Because what happens is you keep jumping on the trampoline, eventually you fall through. Well, the same thing happens with the resistance. You keep punching it, eventually you break through the ceiling. And that is when you're going to have that blue sky breakout. So, you know, I didn't want anyone to think that yesterday's video was negative. In fact, I almost have a sense of me that wishes I did not make yesterday's video because I knew there wasn't a reason to be bearish, but when we had Bitcoin dropping yesterday 10% off the highs, I started seeing a lot of negativity out, you know, over on Twitter, out in the crypto space, and I felt like jumping in and explaining it, but honestly, we're sticking to our guns on this channel. We are in a bull run, guys. This is a bull run. There is no reason to assume that we are in a bear market. We are just having some healthy consolidation and some retests. And if the miners are selling, good, let them sell. If we get a little bit of rejection again around 70, 71,000, if I go back here and show you guys, it's fine. Right? We're still just in this range. The same way that, look, we had this upward sloping structure here, right? And we were riding on it, boom, we fell. And some people thought that was the end. We formed a giant wedge formation, we bounced back up again, same thing. We built structure back up again, and we fell down through it. And now people will be bearish. Oh my goodness, what if we go back down to 61,000? Guys, it doesn't matter. If you just zoom out here, this is constructive price action.
We're still up like 150% on the year or something crazy.
We are putting in a giant parabola, and worst case scenario, we're just range bound, putting in this giant flag. I don't think it's going to go that long, but between 61,000 and 71,000. So ultimately, having a look at the CBBI historical cycles, most of these start peaking at around, the 85 to 85 plus, and currently in this cycle, we've only hit around 82. So that is telling me that there is still a lot more to go, and you tend to see the largest, fastest, craziest moves of the cycle happen at the later part of the cycle, right?
All right, I don't want to cut him off, but I'm going to. If you guys are interested in watching that whole video, please go check it out. Hit that like button for Mr. Crypto Zombie. I'd appreciate it. All right, let's see. Anthony Pompliano, Bitcoin, Trump, and interest rates. Let's see what he's got to say over here. I guess he gets interviewed in this video. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but make sure you guys hit that like button, and also his link is in the description below. Let's do it.
What's up, guys? Bang, bang. Today's episode is a little bit unique. I have Phil Rosen, the co-founder of Opening Bell News. He is here today, and what he is going to do is interview me. That's right. I'm in the hot seat. He's going to ask me a bunch of questions about Bitcoin, President Trump's recent support of the industry, interest rates, and the financial media. I did my best to cram a ton of information and insights into about a 20-minute interview. We're going to try out this format. If you like it, please let us know in the comments. We'll do more of them. Maybe we'll try to do one a week where Phil interviews me. Only though if you guys like it. So make sure that you leave that comment, make sure that you engage with the video or the audio so that we know that we should continue doing this. All right, here is my conversation, or where Phil is interviewing me today.
All right, I'm going to speed this up, by the way. And if there's any ads, I will skip through them.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
It's an honor to be here, and I'm excited to hear about your views on interest rates, Trump, and Bitcoin, as always.
Of course, I'm excited for you to do this and also everyone to meet you.
Yeah, let's do it. So I read your newsletter this morning, and you were writing about Trump's new position on Bitcoin. He's quite supportive of it. And can you explain a bit more about how you think that could impact the regulatory outlook for, even if Trump or Biden wins, they both seem optimistic. Can you talk about what that means for the regulatory landscape?
Yeah, if you think leadership matters, right? And so in every organization, both government and in the private sector, the leader sets the tone, the leader sets the kind of positions, the leader sets in motion what everyone else is going to do. And so currently, President Biden and the administration, they've been very anti-crypto. They've been very anti-Bitcoin, anti-mining, just go down the line. And so what happens is everyone in the government apparatus is anti-Bitcoin, anti-crypto, anti-mining. With Trump, he was anti-Bitcoin. He has many tweets that he's put out there. Many times he said, hey, I actually don't like this. I'm very pro-America. That was his big stance, was Bitcoin is competitive with the US dollar. I do not want this happening. What I think has happened is people have started to educate him. I know that his sons have started to become more sympathetic to Bitcoin. They started to understand it better across government, financial institutions, private sector, et cetera. A lot of people that I know that are wealthy or successful, their kids are the ones who kind of explained to them what Bitcoin is or what crypto was and why it was important. So I think that's a natural progression for Trump to go through. On one hand, there's people who now are saying, wait a minute, this guy was against it. Now he's saying he's for it. Is he pandering? Is he just going to and trying to get votes? There could be an element of that, right? I don't think he's stupid. I think he's hearing what people are saying. And he says, hey, you guys want me to be pro-Bitcoin? You're going to vote for me? I'm pro-Bitcoin, right? At the same time, I think he's just getting educated. He's learning about this stuff. And I know many people, we could rattle off a whole plethora of folks from inside the industry that have gone and met with him, had dinner, been to different events with him, and really spent the time to educate him on this stuff. And so this is kind of like what Bitcoiners or kind of the crypto communities we talk about for a long time, right? Is the game theory is that they're going to have to support it. And so critics have always cracked me up. They're like, I'm smart. Here's my academic theory as to why the government is going to ban Bitcoin. And you're like, dude, you live on a different planet. What are you talking about, right? And the reason why the government has to support it is the same reason why the individual supports it, which is Bitcoin solves a real problem. Crypto solves a real problem. I'll give you a couple examples. If I want to protect the economic purchasing power of myself as an individual, Bitcoin does that better than any other asset in the world. If I bought gold 5 years ago before the pandemic and I held till today, I've lost purchasing power. Gold has not kept up with the decline of the US dollar. Bitcoin is the only asset that I'm aware of that is an asset class to itself, which has outperformed inflation. And so when you look at it from that perspective, it solved the problem for the individual around protecting purchasing power. If you go,
I don't think he's talking about physical gold. I think he's talking about like gold, like in the stocks.
To more of a system approach, Bitcoin mining is solving a ton of energy problems in America. And people are like, what are you talking about? I heard that this consumes a lot of energy. Well, one, Bitcoin mining is over 50%, close to 60% of all energy consumed with Bitcoin mining is renewable energy. So what you get there is Bitcoin mining is probably the furthest penetration of renewable energy usage out of any industry in America. And so if that is the case, then actually we should be putting that industry on a pedestal, saying like, why is the rest of the American economy only 20% renewable? Why is it not 60? Right? Bitcoin mining is leading from the front in terms of that energy mix. And then you look at things like stranded gas. So gas flaring being a great example. If we are going to pollute the environment and flare gas, and we're going to burn a hole in the atmosphere, well, what if we could stop doing that? That'd probably be a pretty powerful thing. And that's exactly what Bitcoin miners are doing. So going and they're stopping gas flaring, they're capturing that energy, they're mining on site. And so you solve that problem. And then you look and say, okay, well, that's Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining. What about stablecoins? Stablecoins now collectively are the 16th largest holder of US treasuries globally. Well, at a time where China and Japan are not buying as many treasuries as they used to be 22% of all global debt, now it's down to 7%. Here come the stablecoin issuers. They're saying we're going to buy debt. And so if you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin mining, crypto, et cetera, like we are solving real problems here. And so what I wrote in the letter was I said, look, it seems like technology has been solving real problems and critics have been crying, right? They're having this war of words, but technologists are having a war of action. And by solving problems, you're on the right side of history and you end up actually winning. And so naturally politicians realize, wait a second, I'm not going to be the anti-progress candidate. I'm not going to be the anti-success candidate. And by Trump making that move, now all of a sudden Biden, he's backed in a corner. What do? Are you really going to cede the Bitcoin and crypto point to Trump? Are you going to let him take 50 million voters out from underneath you because they all are going to vote with their wallets? No, you're going to become more sympathetic to it. And so regardless of whether you believe either one of them,
not wrong.
Everyone is moving to become more pro-crypto and pro-Bitcoin. And that is very good tailwind for the whole industry.
So something I was thinking about when I was reading your letter this morning, presidents on the campaign trail make promises all the time, and they say a lot of things that don't end up being true. So in that sense, as far as what Trump is saying now about being super pro Bitcoin, what if he doesn't follow through on all of that? Is there a worst case scenario you see for crypto as an asset class, but also Bitcoin specifically?
Yeah, there's probably three different outcomes, right? There's like, okay, they say that they're supporting it. They get in office, they do support it. They go and they, deregulate some of the industry. They go ahead and make a bunch of actions that are very pro crypto. It's a boom for the industry and we're off to the races. That'd be great, but maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. The other example would be that they come out and they say, hey, we're going to support this thing going into the election. They get elected, whoever it is, and then they do nothing. Again, promises not kept. That's like basically the name of the game for most politicians. So it's probably not a divergence from the norm, but they're not really doing harm as much as like they had an opportunity to do something positive and they didn't do it. The third, which is probably the most unlikely, is to come out in support of the assets and of the industry, get in office, and then 180 and then go attack the industry. There's very few examples in history of politicians going in, promising one thing, and then basically turning their back on that industry and going and hurting that industry intentionally. Of course, there's always unintentional consequences, and all the caveats. But my guess is we get one of the first two, regardless of whether it's Trump or Biden, is either they're kind of like agnostic to it, like, whatever, I got some votes for it, but like, I'm not really going to do anything, or they end up being supportive. It is very hard today to see a world where either one of the political candidates would end up being anti-crypto, because you have now other politicians in Congress and Senate that hold the assets. You now have people around them in their staff that holds these assets. And it's such a big voter base that you really got to kind of pay attention and make sure that you're not upsetting those people.
I think that makes a lot of sense. So something I've been wanting to ask you about for a while now is your view on interest rates, because that is the hottest topic in financial markets. We started the year with about 6 rates forecasted for markets, and now it's down to about 1 or 2. Where do you fall on that? And also, how has that impacted your view on how you're allocating investments and what you're considering? And also, are these conversations you're having with other investors changing because of the interest rate landscape? Yeah,
it's a good question. I would say there's 2 main points here. One, it is arrogant for the central bank to believe that they can set an interest rate. And when I say that, people are like, what do you mean? I'm like, the market is the true setter of interest rates, right? What is the cost of capital? The market determines that. When somebody outside of the market, in terms of the market force, an individual or an organization steps and says, no, we are going to set an artificial price of capital, cost of capital. That is an arrogant view. You are saying that you are smarter than the market. I just don't believe that's possible. So at the outset, setting the interest rate, I think, is a fool's errand because you can't be right. You're not the market. You're not going to be able to self-correct. You're not going to be able to react to all the different economic factors. And so what ends up happening is you're trying to take all this data, which is backwards looking. You're going to use that backwards looking data to make decisions today about what you think is going to happen in the future. It's an impossible decision for any human to make. Now, put that aside. Say, that all sounds great, but they're still going to set the interest rate. I tend to be what I call a market observer, right? I'm not going to pontificate on what they should do. I just simply want to understand what are they going to do. What they should do is completely different because what they really should do is not have the interest rate. And even if they have an interest rate, then they should probably stop this like volatile management of it. But what are they going to do? At the start of the year, it was pretty obvious to a lot of people, hey, they're going to cut. But what changed was they got a bunch of economic data that said, wait a second, maybe we shouldn't cut. And so one of the things that investors tend to do that I talk with is they get very rigid in their thinking around interest rates. They say, okay, well, interest rates are 5.5%. They're going to cut 7 times this year, 6 times, 5 times, 3 times, whatever. And they go into the year. By March, 90 days, it was obvious they were not going to cut 7 times, right? Or 6 times. And so when you look at that, you have to ask yourself, are you willing to change your mind? How quickly can you update your line of thinking? And so just like when you're building a product, you want to have very high iteration speed. In investing, you want to have very high iteration speed in your thought process of what's going to happen. And that is all based on how much information can you consume, right? How can you sift through what is high signal, what's not, and then be able to act. And so as of right now, you can pretty much count me as somebody who believes the prediction markets. 1 to 2 cuts. Somehow they'll do a cut before the election. Central bank's supposed to be independent. Somehow we're going to get the cut before the election. I actually don't think it's going to matter that much. Right now we're at 5.5%, interest rates 5.75%, and you have QQQ all-time highs, right? You have S&P ripping. You have Bitcoin near all-time highs. With high interest rates, you're supposed to have asset prices crashing. What's going on, right? I saw a study recently that showed it is better to buy the stock index. They measured the S&P. It's better to buy it at the all-time high than any other day because momentum is real. So when it hits a new all-time high, right? The last time it hit a new all-time high, if you would have bought it, it kept going up and it hit a new all-time high, right? And then the further you go out, the more likely it is that it appreciated. So if you measure 3, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 3 years is actually the biggest gap. So if you buy at an all-time high and then you wait a period of time, it's more likely that the asset has continued to go up. And so like that kind of is counterintuitive. But then also I've seen some statistics that show the housing market during times of recession doesn't really crash as much as people think. And so if you look at these things, you're like, wait a second, the investment class in terms of the citizens, they're going to be just fine. Recession, not recession, high interest rates, low interest rates, like people are getting rich. Stock market's at all-time highs. What are you talking about? The interest rate doesn't matter to them. Where interest rate really matters is the people who don't have investments, right? Because the investments are actually immunizing people from inflation and interest rates. But the people who just hold cash are getting decimated right now. There's estimates out there that inflation over the last 4 years has been somewhere close to 40%. Right? There's been a 40% expansion in the money supply. So if you look at that, you say, wait a second, you mean to tell me that if I had $1 at the beginning of 2020, today I got 60 cents worth of purchasing power? That is catastrophic to somebody's financial situation. And so I tend to think that the interest rate will come down. It'll probably come down a little bit this year and into the following years because on a macro basis, they have to. They're addicted to cheap money, right? And central bankers, they can fight things for a short period of time, but the system is stronger. It swallows them up. And I think that we'll end up back, somewhere in kind of the 2%, 2.5%, 1.5% range with interest rates over the next maybe 2-3 years.
It sounds like you take quite a long-term view on things, especially with what you're saying with interest rates. Do you think it's maybe wiser for stock market investors, even crypto investors, to be pretty agnostic about interest rates? Because unless you're day trading, maybe it doesn't matter that much.
Today's episode is brought...
Hold on. Sorry, trying to skip this.
Kind of continuations of the trend. What I mean by that is if you go back to November of 2021, something that I didn't get completely right. I wish that I had paid attention more. For those that don't know, in November of 2021, I wrote a letter to outside investors. I said, hey, I'm having a kid. I want to go spend time, doing other stuff. I'm going to return all the outside capital. Part of it was like, I felt like things were, it's like, how do I make money in this environment, right? Every time I go to look at a private company, the starting valuation is 50, 60, $70 million. It's just the math doesn't work, right? So I returned all the outside capital. Now, in hindsight, you're like, wow, literally the month of the top of the market, you gave back the outside capital. You're smart. Well, if I was actually smart, I would have sold all of the assets too, right? But I didn't do that. So I can't claim that I knew it was top of the market, but I at least felt one part of it, which is, hey, this is getting too hard, right? Now, why is that important? There are investors. Keith Roboy is a great example. On Twitter, he said, I'm calling the top. And a reporter tweeted him and said, are you calling explicitly, are you calling the top? And he just responded, yes. He was off by like 12 hours.
Wow.
Right now, how did he do that?
Wow.
If you go and you ask him, he says because the second they started talking about raising interest rates with seriousness, not like, oh, maybe we should do it, like we're going to raise the interest rate. He knew from back in the 2000 tech bubble when they started to raise the cost of capital, here come the assets they turn over. And so that's exactly what happened. Is cost of capital went up. They wanted to quote unquote destroy demand was the phrase they kept using. They did a fantastic job of destroying investment demand, but not consumer demand. And where we ended up was a world where we went from cheap money to expensive money. Market turns over and we go down. Now, again, that inflection point, that change in the market, interest rates really mattered. Now, did it actually matter when we went from 0 to 5.75%? No, because guess what? Asset prices went down. They came flying right back. And so it's only around the changes that really matter. And you can almost think of it like a regime. We went from a cheap money cut rate regime, right? We went down to 0% with 2 emergency rate cuts in 2020 and kept it suppressed there. But the second that they reversed and they said, hey, we're going to go back the other way. Now we're going to go up. That it matters. And so right now, whether they go from 5.5, 5.75 to 6, 6.25, it doesn't matter, right? What's going to matter is the first time they cut.
Yep.
And we're already seeing the ECB and a couple others start to cut. And so it's coming. It's just a matter of, is it this next meeting, the meeting after? It's going to be a 25 basis point cut most likely, but that change is where you got to start paying attention.
So how have your conversations from a year ago and maybe conversations today changed around how other investors are positioning?
I think that most investors are pretty risk averse. When you're investing, you have two things. You have to mitigate downside and you got to optimize for upside. And most investors in crypto, how good can it go if it goes well, right? But most other industries, people want to, hey, how do I diversify? How do I protect? How do I, really make sure that I've got that risk mitigation going? And what ends up happening is they're slow to move around those turns, right? Nobody wants to catch the falling knife. But if you go and you actually look at the best investors, they're willing to make those decisions and make those calls at the right time. One of my favorite investing kind of approaches maybe is Stanley Druckenmiller said that one of the lessons he learned from George Soros was buy first, research later, which sounds like GameStop or meme coins or like undisciplined investing. But his point is when you see a data point that tells you something, you should actually go get exposure to it, quickly do your research, and then you can always cut it, right? And yeah, sure, maybe take a little bit of a loss, but what if you're correct and it runs? The thing that counts is not how many times you're right, it's how much money you make when you're right, which is pretty important. And so if you go and you take a look at it, recently, for example, Stanley Druckenmiller said that he was watching a speech from Javier Milei, who's down in Argentina. He listened to the speech. He goes, oh my God, this guy is incredible. He's going to turn this country around. And he went on Perplexity, the AI search engine, and he basically typed in, he goes, what are the 5 most liquid ADRs for Argentina? 5 tickers came up and he bought them. And they said, okay, I'm going to go do some research now. Right? That is so counter to how many people invest. What most people want to do is they want to go look at all this data and they want to make sure. It's like, okay, are they actually going to cut rates? I'm going to wait till they cut rates, all this stuff. If you waited till they cut rates, you've missed the entire recovery of the stock market, including new all-time highs. And so you have 2 things that you can do. If you're a young person, you have a long time horizon, get invested, stay invested, and shut up and just let the market do its thing. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, but over a long period of time, they're going to debase the currency, you're going to make money. The only other thing
I would say don't invest more than you can lose because you get too emotional.
That you can do is if you are going to try to tactically change long versus cash or long and short, et cetera, is you have to be willing to risk mitigate with position sizing. And then you also have to be willing to make calls or make decisions on little information, but understanding, hey, we're going through a regime change. And so when I talk to other investors, frankly, most of them are lagging in performance because they aren't willing to make the big, bold bets, right? We live in a world where Citadel and many of these firms, they're gathering assets. Why are they gathering assets? Their goal is not to make more return than the market. Citadel wants to make like 10 to 12%, market neutral, as little volatility as possible, and just keep 10 to 12%, 10 to 12%, 10 to 12%. But if you think of the great macro investors over time, what they want to do, they want to make 60%, 70%, 100%, right? It's just 2 different styles of investing.
So all of that said, I think the financial press is usually behind the ball on this stuff. We are reactive to market news and how investors are responding. Where do you see the financial media falling short in their coverage as far as how investors are positioning and how these interest rates are changing the environment for investors?
There's usually 3 things, and this is not just financial media, it's media in general. Sure. It's the people who are writing about an industry. They haven't been in the industry in terms of like a actor. That's good at times because they're sober and they kind of are a third party that can evaluate this stuff. It's bad at times because there's just nothing like the education of sitting in the seat of allocating the capital and really understanding it, right? So there's pros and cons, but that's one piece. The second thing is most people are not going to tell journalists what's actually happening until it's already happened, right? An investor never calls up a journalist and says, hey, watch this, I'm about to buy this stock, right? What do? They buy the stock and then they tell them, hey, guess what I just bought, right? So there's a little bit of like, by the structure of the market and the relationship between the market participants and the media, you get the information later because they want you to get it later. And then the third thing is there's a huge difference in media in general of there's experienced journalists been around a long time. And then there's a lot of media companies that have gone, that cut an immense amount of cost. What they had to do is hire much younger people. And so experience is experience, right? Even if you're not the person allocating the capital, if you think of your career, right, you're way more experienced today than you were on day one. And so just like that compounds over a career. And so if you have a newsroom full of 22-year-olds, how much can they really, kind of drive versus if you have a newsroom full of 35-year-olds? Now, obviously, you want a newsroom full of a couple of different buckets of people, right? You want to kind of have a well-rounded view of things. But I think that is a huge part that no one talks about is what is the market structure? What is the relationship between the market participants and the media? And then also, who are the people writing the stories? And like, how have we, whether we are the media or we as the market, educated them? And so I always joke that like one of the best things that we could do in terms of both sides of the market is the journalists go do a day in the life with the investors and vice versa. Do like instead of like a jersey swap, do like a player swap, right? And just like make a financial investor go sit inside of a newsroom. They'd have a whole different appreciation for everything that goes on in there, right? Vice versa is have the media person go sit inside the trading room, right? Or inside of an investment firm. And it's just all of a sudden you get exposed, right? You have some nuance and everyone becomes a little bit easier to work together.
It would definitely make for better conversations, I think, long term. Something that I thought was interesting when FTX was collapsing, a lot of the media comparisons were to Enron, but then most of the media members writing about it weren't old enough to have reported on Enron. And sort of what you're saying about this lack of experience and maybe the longevity of a reporter's career. I think we got a ton of very interesting insights from you today, Pomp, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
That's awesome. Shout out to Pomp for that interview. All right, last but not least, I want to see what Mr. Altcoin Daily has to say. Again, I'm updating myself. I haven't had a chance to watch any of this stuff. And then we're going to go raid Miss Randy Hipper, but I'm going to pump this up to 1.2. Oh, no, didn't mean to do that.
Base case of the committee.
Hold on. What is happening? 1.2. Let's see. So it's not too fast, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out. Let's do it.
Seems to be that there is going to be at least one rate cut this year.
Big news for crypto holders today. Smash the like button. Let me tell you what you need to know. First of all, the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, just had their FOMC meeting today. The takeaway is that interest rates are being held unchanged, 5.2% to 5.5%, now indicating only one rate cut happens this year.
The base case of the committee seems to be that there is going to be at least one rate cut this year, but your growth forecast doesn't see any slowdown in the rest of the year, nor does the unemployment forecast see any significant weakening of the labor market. And your inflation forecasts basically average out to no change. So if at the end of the year there is no change from conditions now, why would you anticipate cutting rates? What would be the point for a rate cut?
We think policy is restrictive. And we think ultimately that if you just set policy at a restrictive level, eventually you will see real weakening in the economy. So that's always been the thought, is that, since we raised rates this far, we've always been pointing to cuts at a certain point, not to eliminate the possibility of hikes, but no one has that as their base case. So no one on the committee does. That's how we think about it, and that's what we've been getting. That's what we've been getting is good progress on inflation with growth at a good level and with a strong labor market. Now, ultimately, we think rates will have to come down to continue to support that, but so far they haven't had to, and that's why we're watching so carefully for signs of weakness. We don't really see that. We kind of see what we wanted to see, which was gradual cooling in demand, gradual rebalancing in the labor market while we're continuing to make progress on inflation. So we're getting good results here.
We're going to see at least one rate cut this year. We might see two. We might see three. Anthony Scaramucci basically explained this in our interview the other day.
I have been in the camp that we're going to get two and possibly still three rate cuts. I think the consensus now is one rate cut, but I actually think it's going to be more than. I believe that. Yes, I do believe that. I think they're going to come in the months of October, November, December. I think you're going to get the rate cuts. You get the rate cuts. You're going to get a tear in Bitcoin. You're going to get
3 rate cuts, October, November, December, he thinks? That's crazy.
a tear in risk assets.
I don't know.
Bitcoin's over 100,000 by the end of the year. That's my honest opinion.
And the thing is, something needs to be done. Jerome Powell has said before that the only way out is to take on more debt.
At the end of the day, there's only one solution to this problem, and that is Congress. Whatever else may happen will happen, but Congress really needs to raise the debt ceiling. That's the only way out. And if we fail to do so, I think that the consequences are hard to estimate, but they could be extraordinarily adverse and could do longstanding harm.
So because this is such a problem, Bitcoin, given enough time, can only go up. Mike Alfred explains why Bitcoin can only go up in 75 seconds because of the debt, because of the deficit. Listen.
The U.S. is adding a couple $1 trillion to the national debt every year, which is effectively, a high single-digit deficit. I don't think that deficit-style spending and adding to the debt going to stop. And so effectively what they're doing is creating more money every single year, whether they call it that or not. And you can't create more Bitcoin faster, right? The money supply in Bitcoin is entirely dictated by the code and the algorithm. So you have this immovable force, which is this decentralized, immutable ledger backed by all of this hash power, right? That can't change, won't change. And then you have the fiat systems globally, which effectively have no incentive to introduce austerity. They have no incentive to reduce spending. The politicians are only going to be in office as long as they make their constituents happy. And so they're going to continue to take the easy path while Bitcoin takes the hard path. And you get the benefit of that as a holder because it's about relative scarcity. Right? It's not that there's not going to be any new Bitcoin. Of course, we know there's going to be about 450 new Bitcoin a day. It's that there's a lot more dollars, a lot more yen, a lot more rubles, a lot more euros, right? A lot more yuan being created than there are Bitcoin. And so effectively that means the fiat denominated value of Bitcoin goes up.
Things are really heating up for Bitcoin, particularly as current presidential candidate and former president Donald Trump is continuing to lean even harder into Bitcoin day after day. Donald Trump just met with Bitcoin Magazine CEO and US Bitcoin miners. His message: I support you, I support Bitcoin. This is him meeting with David Bailey, the CEO of Bitcoin Magazine. This is a tweet, or rather a post, or rather a truth on Truth Social that Donald Trump posted immediately after, saying, we want all Bitcoin made in the US. It will help us with energy dominance. This is huge. Clearly, he's going to the right people to get his talking points. And I just hope that Joe Biden and Democrats will continue to feel the pressure. He needs to be pro-crypto if he wants to win. That's what I think. Because crypto isn't partisan. Crypto is for everyone. Case in point, one of the world's largest banks, the ICBC, says Bitcoin is like digital gold and Ethereum is like digital oil. This is notable for two different big reasons. Number one, this is one of the largest banks in the world, on par with JP Morgan Chase.
I think the Winklevoss twins are the ones that said that Ethereum's like digital oil.
Number two, this is a large bank in China. And with Chinese banks so tied to the nation of China like this coming around, you got to think, are they opening back up to Bitcoin and Ethereum? Will we be seeing some Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs soon, like we have in Hong Kong? Will they come to China, which is a lot bigger market? It's amazing when you dive into the report and actually see what they say about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin retains the scarcity similar to gold through mathematical consensus, while solving its problem of being difficult to divide, difficult to identify authenticity, and inconvenient to carry. And then they called Ethereum digital oil. Ethereum has been continuously upgrading its technology in terms of security, scalability, and sustainability, providing technical power for the digital future. I mean, they say a lot more than this. Truly is amazing to see. The fact is, the best part of the cycle is still yet to come. Here on Pump's podcast, Matthew Siegel, VanEck's head of digital asset research and portfolio management, gives his price predictions on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Listen.
What is your bullish case for Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana right now, out of the research?
Yeah. So out of the research, the official price target on Bitcoin is 325,000, which is half the market cap of gold. We're going to have some new research soon that incorporates the layer 2 opportunity and should send the price target higher. For ETH, the new report dropped today, 22,000 per coin. Shit. We estimate that the network is going to produce $70 billion of free cash flow by 2030, 33 times that. And then Solana, our base case was $300. That base case is obsolete now because we used a lower market share number for Solana because of some of the technical debt, and they've made a lot of progress. So bull case on that 3,000.
365, 22,000.
3,000 for Solana. Perfect. That would be sick.
1,000 and 3,000.
Now is the time to get into altcoins, in my opinion.
Dope.
Now that Bitcoin has broken all-time highs, now that the halving is behind us, historically, this is really when you see these massive gains in altcoins. You know, Bitcoin's going to, 3x from here? Altcoin's going to 5, 10, 20x from here, depending on which coin. And this image really does sum up the current state of the market perfectly. Bitcoin's had a major run. Altcoins, not so much. If you're wondering why sentiment is so poor relative to the price of Bitcoin, here's your answer. And with Terra Luna, or more specifically Terraform Labs, agreeing to pay $4.47 billion under the settlement with the US SEC from Terra Luna's 2022 collapse, the cream really is rising to the top in crypto nowadays. Something big is happening to Cardano. Cardano prepares for its Voltaire era with Node 9.0 launch. This upgrade is set to unlock decentralized governance and community funding, Charles Hoskinson says it looks like June will
They've been working on a lot in the background.
be the month that Cardano node reaches 9.0. This means that Cardano is Chang fork ready. It's the most significant milestone in the history of Cardano and for the industry as a whole. Cardano will be a decentralized civilization spanning the entire world with millions of residents, will have the most advanced blockchain government system, annual budgets, a treasury, and the wisdom of our entire community to guide us. It's been nearly 10 years for some of us on this remarkable journey. I can't believe that in a single decade we built a nation. I'm proud of all of you. Cardano gives me hope for our industry and the world. Let's spend the next decade making a big dent in the universe. If
Crazy.
you're looking for more of a low cap gem, check out.
Nope. They are partners of the channel. Blah, blah, blah. All right, we're going to get out of this. That is going to be it for the day. Let's get into the recap segment of things. If anybody else is just joining, here we go. Bitcoin, 68,067 bucks. Honestly, we're still looking good, even though it's red. $3,500 Bitcoin. We got Solana, 151 bucks. You imagine if this went to 3K? God damn. That'd be sweet. That would be sweet. Do you guys hold Solana? Everybody hold Solana? Let me know in the chat. Caspa just under 17 cents. It was 17 at the beginning of the stream. Near Protocol is down today. Might be a good buy, my opinion. Again, you guys do your own research. ADA is at 43 cents. I think that's a good buy as well as ETC. Same thing, 25.69. Looking pretty good. Let's see if anything changed over here. Crypto bubbles, not really. This LPT is still in top 100, 4.6% up on the day. What's it at actually? It's in 98th place as of now. 24 bucks. Nice. Toncoin, 4.7% up on the day, 758. And let's check out the fear and greed index real quick. 70 over here. Again, under 75 looks pretty good. But guys, listen, it is that time. We're gonna go raid Miss Randy Hipper, but in case you guys missed it, I do have to play this Donald Trump song for you one more time just because it's hilarious. You guys have a great day. Appreciate you all. I'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, about 8:30-ish Eastern Standard Time. And until then, peace out, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a good day, everybody. Peace, peace. Let's go raid Miss Randy Hipper.